Angela.
And I'm David, and we're work spouses. Yep, you heard it right, but not the type that you're thinking of.
We realize you spend more time with people at work than you do with the people you love most.
We're going to discuss the interactions such as the games played at work, building the right and avoiding the wrong relationships. D'Angelo and I, we're currently work spouses.
Join us each week as we testify, help, and complain about work in corporate America.
Hey.
Welcome back, co-workers. How's it going, David?
It's going as good as it's going to go for this week. You know, it's a tough week. But
why is it a tough week for you?
Well, you know, I'm a California boy, so, you know, we felt
the Kobe news.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, we felt the impact. I lived in California for the first 36 years of my life. So it was a tough week for me and my friends and things like that. But I got a chance to meet Kobe. He came up to my job before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, I worked for the Navy. He came up to the Naval Medical Center in San Diego.
Okay.
And I had a homegirl say, hey, you know, the Lakers are coming up because they just won the 2009 championship. And they said, Lakers are coming up, but we're not telling nobody because they're coming to see the prosthetic and the cancer patients.
Oh, okay.
So I said,
within the Navy.
Yeah, Navy, right. So, it's just a drive from L.A. to San Diego, hour, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I like, wow. So I said, well, call me, let me know where they're going to be at. So
I told you, you just got to be in the ward.
You just got to be in the ward. Correct. So she called me. Shout out to Janelle. I still remember. So she called me and she's like, they're up here. So, I run up there.
Oh, nice. That's you to plug.
Yeah. So I run up there. Back then the phone cameras, they were just okay in 2009. So, they come out, shake their hands, Paul Gasol, Phil Jackson and stuff. Then Kobe was like the last. So then I just kind of jumped into fan mode and things like that. But, so that went to a few games.
Right.
The games are expensive in L.A.
I'm sure.
So
especially Lakers games.
Lakers games, yeah. It's,
I'm sure.
It's no joke, but I've been to some very good games. But for the most part, it's some good memories. Yeah. And, we're going to talk about influence today.
Yes, we are. I think the Kobe news is definitely tragic, especially how things took place with the helicopter. Because it wasn't like a natural cause, like he didn't die of, some type of, ailment or anything like that. So it's definitely tragic. And for his wife and his other 3 children, right? Because she was one of the 4 children, and his daughter as well. Like the fact that she was just 13 years old,
Yeah.
And along with the other family members too, because although Kobe was well known, they were like, I feel for like the entire situation, because it was a family, like a mom, dad, and sibling,
right,
and 2 other siblings still are alive that have to deal with that tragedy, as well. So just in general, the helicopter and the pilot as well, just such a tragic thing that happened. And it's really like, I saw so many Instagram stories and people, like the influence that Kobe had in particular because of his stardom and his fame and what he was doing afterwards. But it's just like the influence that one person can make over or had over others who not just were athletes, but others who were just fans as well of his.
Correct.
I just think also I do want to point out like social media and all these media outlets are becoming like really like insensitive to certain situations. Like the fact that his wife has to find out from social media like TMZ is disgusting to me. That you have to find out that your husband and your middle child was in a helicopter crash and is basically didn't survive. So I think there needs to be some sort of like realness to such things that are happening. Yeah. Like just because ultimately that information was given to TMZ because there was someone at the helicopter agency that sold that story.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, do you understand that this person is thinking that their day is going about, they're going about their normal routine of things in the way that it could. And then they had to find out this news this way. And then like footage, footage of stuff like that. Like she has to keep reliving this over and over again. And not even that, like it's so much, everyone's like, oh, I miss Kobe, blah, blah, blah. But she has to continue to see these things as well So her mourning process is going to be so rough because regardless if she wants to do whatever it needs, because everyone mourns differently. Whatever that is for her, she now have others. Like, yes, she's probably grateful that he made this such a large impact on other people, but she has to continue to see people posting about her husband and her child, So it's like, how do you disconnect from that to actually begin a process of mourning? Yeah. So it's just I think about a lot of things that take place and not just the surface of it all, because I personally deal with death, I think, quite differently than most people do. But because when I heard the news, I was actually celebrating a birthday. Like, it was a girlfriend of mine's actual birthday on the same day, and we were at brunch and celebrating her new age, and the news came through, and everyone kind of like dropped everything. Was like, oh my gosh, Kobe died, and we were like, no way, this is a hoax, because at first you don't believe it,
right?
And then it was like, no, he really died, and it was like, oh, I was like, let me go to Twitter. Every time I want to confirm something, I was like, let me go to Twitter. So Twitter definitely had on there that he was in a helicopter crash. And at first, of course, it was like all of his daughters versus just one of the daughters. So it just like the information was influx of actually being accurate. But it was just like, oh my gosh, like, especially for a person who's only 41 years old, like, he wasn't that old. Not that matter, because it's still a tragic situation. Because even if there were people on the plane that were older than him, it's still tragic. So I was trying to celebrate her birthday with the news going on. And some people kind of, I'm assuming, took it that like a little insensitive of me. But it's just like, I was like, let this be a reminder to celebrate each day as if, you won't be able to live a next, like, and it's like, this is your birthday. Let's celebrate life. Let's celebrate a new age, because we see what has happened to someone. And for me, I know that the news is tragic, but Kobe was doing some great things. I feel like he did a lot. He accomplished a lot in his life. I feel like he even said that when he went on interviews about how much he's accomplished and what else he want to do next. So I feel like if in fact whatever what's happening is tragic, he lived a fulfilled life. So he didn't, I'm sure there's probably more he wanted to do, but he lived a fulfilled life. And I think that's really what's important, is to live a fulfilled life, so that if anything such as that happened to anyone, your life, you have lived your life fulfilled, doing things that you wanted to do, pushing yourself to the limits. I feel like he did all those things. I mean, his basketball career in general, like, he retired from basketball. I mean, so it's just like he felt that he done all he could do as a actual basketball player. So I think that, it's tragic, but I feel like if there was a way to, like, I mean, the way that it happened, of course, is not the best or suited, but he actually did great things, and we're trying to do even more. I do kind of have more, like, I'm really more so upset about the daughter, because she's only 13 years old. Like, she hasn't lived a fulfilled life, like, she hasn't seen prom. She hasn't seen, like, certain things. She even at high school, college, like, certain things. Whereas in, like, Kobe retired with 4 kids, like, even though that wasn't the complete of his life as we see it, because I don't feel like we have any control over those things. But his daughter was so young, and have probably experienced a lot of things in life, if anybody could think about being at 13 again. I mean, I can't even remember what I was on at 13, but I'm sure I didn't have a care in the world. But yeah, so I just think that it's really tragic of what happens and what the families have to go through, all of them, But it's also really good to see the influence, like you mentioned, of that he had amongst so many people. Because I knew of Kobe as a basketball player, but I wasn't like a fan of Kobe's. Not saying that, I wasn't a fan of things that he did, but more so just like I wasn't like that fan that was like, oh my gosh, this is my player, like that. Because I'm just not a sports fanatic person in general. So I don't really have a sports fan or I'm not a fanatic over many sports players. But, Yeah, but I can understand you having that connection because you're from California. You know, that's your team.
Yeah,
and that's your state
and it's
team.
more
So
exposure. It's like when you have your local team, you know, they're constantly on TV.
Right.
Versus national. If you're on the East Coast, you're not going to see Laker games, all 82 games out of the year. But of course,
right.
Yeah. So it's just a different amount of times you're gonna be exposed and stuff to them. Then you have just more access to going to games, things like that. So the connection's gonna be just a little different. But other than that, yeah, we're gonna talk about the influence.
Yeah.
Of not just Kobe, just work influence. We're gonna get into
influences
with
an S.
All
the
the things, because what we like to do with a work spouse is address what's going on at work and how we can apply it to our personal life and trying to do a comparison and contrast and things like that. But before we get into the influences, you got something you want to show us?
Oh, well, I did bring a cocktail for us. The cocktail of today, I put a lot of time and attention into this cocktail, guys. And then David texts me literally 2 minutes. I'm gonna say 5 before I packed up all this stuff. It takes a lot of time and attention for me to go to the store, get all the fresh ingredients that I need to make the I'm not David. Okay, give me a second. And he say, "Oh, I'm not drinking tonight." I didn't have to go to the grocery store and get no fresh mint. I didn't have to go to the grocery store and get no fresh ginger root.
But okay,
I'm not finished. And and do all this. I could have saved the cocktail for next week or when you were drinking or whatever. But in the event that I did all these things, so I get all the ingredients, bring the cocktail, and then realize that I forget the simple syrup. Which isn't a big deal because I picked up this lemon elderflower soda, which it includes clubs. So the ingredients for the cocktail, which is called eye candy, is 3 slices of ginger root, 1 sprig of mint, 1.5 ounce simple syrup, 1.5 ounce of elderflower, and 1.5 ounce of lemon juice. So I cut out the lemon juice, elderflower, and club soda by using this lemon elderflower soda. I felt. Just improvising. I mean, I could have done that way, but I was like, I love elderflower. Like, if there's any simple cocktail that you want to make with this few ingredients, just pop a little bit of elderflower in it, and it takes it a long way.
Okay.
Elderflower is Saint Germain, like in that. Yeah. So yes, I have that in this cocktail. Okay. Well, eye candy. So you're gonna. I told myself that I'm gonna make David drink. It's gonna be peer pressure, so it don't have to be a lot.
I mean, there's other people in here that could take my cup and and test it out, and they could give you a real review. Because you're tired of getting my review, aren't you?
No, so because I'm not officially a bartender. So
no, but I have vouched for you and already said that you've been doing a good job. So now we have about 5 people in this studio.
Well, this isn't the time that I want to actually put my skills on the chopping block, given that I forgot my ingredients.
Well, we can. Convince them that to be, light on the grading, have some type of a curve.
No, because I like true for grading.
Okay.
So this is the elderflower soda, and since I put ice in here because I didn't want it to get, but I'm pretty sure this is a little strong. You don't even want to try a little bit. Just gonna drink soda.
Yeah.
You could just take like a shot, like not even a shot, just sip.
No, I'm gonna stay away for today.
Okay. That's fine. So I'm going to try it because I've never made a drink with ginger root and mint before. So I was like, this sounds like an interesting cocktail.
Okay, so taste it and let's see what you think.
Okay. It's actually not bad.
Yeah, I am curious, but I'm going to be okay.
It tastes like elderflower soda. So you can taste the soda. Okay. Since you probably never had that before. No. That's like a Trader Joe's thing. This is not cold, so that's why I brought the ice to chill it. That's why I put it in there first. No. You typically don't shake up soda. But do you see the taste? Like how it's sweet? I see the taste. So that's why. So it's actually, I did not a bad job.
Okay.
So yes, and I did want to bring up segments, like because the last time I think
you've been talking about segments. Yes, let us know what you're talking about.
So the thing is, like, I don't know how we're gonna start this, but it's just been on my mind because every time I see things that I want to discuss, I think about like how it could potentially fit into a segment.
Okay, so let's go for it.
So I don't know what the segment should be called. If it should be like unsolicited advice for D, from David, from D, like, or we should split it up and like my crazy advice versus your sane advice.
Okay.
So
yeah, we'll think of a title.
Yeah, we'll think of a title. We don't have to go over that now, but I did have something that I wanted to, I guess, talk about shortly. Hopefully we can do it briefly. But I was just wondering how you would respond to this, because my life is like a book. I'm coping with that now, that unexpected events are just always going to take place in my life. So this is kind of like I'm sharing something personal, but I think I share a lot of personal things since we've been doing this.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was dating this guy. Well, dated this guy or dates with this guy. I don't even know how to classify it. So on the third date, he tells me that he has a child on the way.
Okay, I like this. I like
you
I
like
this.
this.
I like this. Okay.
I didn't think you. Okay. I knew that I can have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
So for those who are listening and do not know, Dave and I talk about personal things all the time.
Yes.
As work spouses. Mm-hmm. So this is not really any different for he and I. It's just that I'm talking about it with you all. I'm sharing this with you all. So. And it's not really a big deal for me, honestly. But I know that, David, you experienced something similar in your life. So that's why I was like, oh, David is the only man that I know who has kind of had something similar. So he told me that, he was once in a relationship with someone. And they were together for a few months. I don't know exactly how long. Right. And that upon breaking up, I guess she... they conceived a child before and they broke up, and then she found out she was with child. So then I guess a few months later, I'm just going to generalize and say after the first trimester, about 3 months, and that she expressed to him that she's having the child. Okay. Regardless of their relationship status.
Right. Right, and that happens.
That definitely happens. So, it's happening.
Okay, right. So it's happening. So you got this guy. You've been out on a few dates. You're obviously interested. If you made it date number 3, that means there's some interest.
Or not really, because I give it 3 dates.
You give it 3 days. Yeah. Oh, that's very generous, because there's a lot of women like
unless something extreme like go wrong within the 1 or 2, then. But other than that, I'm gonna give it 3 full dates.
So you give it 3 full dates. Okay, so. Let me ask you this. So without him telling you, being honest, saying that, he's expecting a child, would you have went to date number 4 with him?
Yeah, I plan to still go on dates with this person.
Okay, so you're planning on, you're going on dates with him. So he's being honest with you. Hey, he's not in control of the situation to a certain extent.
Right. At all. Because it's happening. Like, he's made it clear that this is what she wants.
Right.
Although he doesn't. I don't know the reason for the relationship ending. I don't know the full reason or the reason at all. It seems like he's not in favor of it. Right. Given the conversation that we had. And his transparency. I really appreciate. I love transparency and honest. Even I want the truth, even if it hurts. So I appreciated him telling me this on the third date, because I think people were like, oh, I'm going to wait 6 months. You know how people say, oh, I'm wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think you should let people know up front. Yeah, you should be intentional.
Yeah, I think the fact that he let you know up front, that means he's kind of serious about you and he plans on.
You can't be serious about somebody in 3 days.
No, I'm saying like, if I'm looking at you, if we're going to be just temporary, because some guys are like, I'm just going to mess with this for 3 months, then I'm moving on.
Oh, I can understand that.
Right. So if he just had temporary plans for you, he's not going to tell you, because you're not in my future. But the fact that I may see you in my future, so now I have to be honest and let you know everything that's going on with me, so there's no surprises.
I didn't look at it that way.
So right. So to me, he gets points, and he's also saying that, hey, you know, we may have a future, so therefore I need to let you know about this baggage that's coming up.
Gotcha. That's an interesting perspective because that wasn't my perspective when he told me. I just felt like you got to tell me up front anyway.
No, he doesn't. Guys,
he does not have to tell me.
Up. We cover that thing up until about 12 years old.
Oh, listen, I've been in a situation where that has happened to me. So yes, you are right.
Yeah, we have a whole nother family and a whole nother city.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Right. So the fact that he was honest.
I'm not saying you have to tell me, but at some point it wouldn't have aligned. So even if you didn't tell me on date 3 and you told me on month 7,
right,
you still kind of been in the same situation.
True.
Because you neglected to tell me this information.
So
or you could have lied about when you got the information.
Right. So he would have been at fault if he would have told you at 7 months.
Oh, yeah.
So do you give him points for telling you so early in the process?
I did. I continued to say, like, thank you for your honesty, being transparent, especially because it's very important to me that people, or when I'm dating, the person is transparent to a degree. Like, of course, I don't expect people to know the answers right away on how they feel about someone in 3 dates. You know, even if you're toying with yourself and trying to figure out how you feel, or I know what I'm gonna do. Because there's been guys that I date, I'm like, I'm not gonna see him past.
I gotta call you out on that 3 date thing.
Okay, tell me.
Because you're not a person about the amount of dates. You're about the feel. So, are we talking about 3 dates in a span of 3 days? Are we talking about 3 dates in a span of 6 weeks?
Exactly.
But in the interim, you guys been talking and building a closer connection.
Yeah, we have. Okay. I mean, there's much of a connection there.
Right. So I don't want to minimize this down just because 3 dates. This
is why I enjoy having conversation with you, because anyone else you would have had this conversation with, it would have kind of went straight over the head if that wasn't their maturity level. And I hate to use maturity as a defining line, but I do think sometimes you have to understand that, like, in life, shit happens, like, legit. Yeah. Like, and it does, because your vanilla life hasn't encountered certain things. Right. Mine have, like, I was like, oh, I've heard this before, right. But someone who haven't would have been like, what the heck? How does that happen? Right. Oh, it can happen,
Right. And then the crazy thing, and I don't want to read too much into it, and I don't want to go too much into it.
No, go ahead.
But like, if you are feeling this guy and 8 months from now, you never know. All 3 guys may be looking forward to the new edition. Crazy things happen like that.
I would not say that, but you're right about life things and how things happen. I'm aware of that, and that's why I think I realize more and more how open I am to even having conversations, because so even in my past, like, I've dated guys that don't seem like the normal, I guess, guy that I would date to others. And everyone's like, well, why would you even date that person? I'm like, people come from all different walks of life. You never know what you can learn or anything like that. Just because I'm dating them does not mean I'm going to marry them. And I think people think that you only date people and think that you're going to marry every person that you date or go on dates with. And that's not the case.
That's not the case, but there is a case for when women get older. I'm not saying you're older. That's not what I'm saying. But when women get older to a certain age, they start dating with a purpose.
You're right.
And most of the time, the purpose is, I'm looking for a lifetime partner.
Yes. But, and I think that's, and with you saying that, because you're segueing into the next part about the conversation, because I don't know the situation between the relationship, but I feel that because of whatever took place in their relationship, she feels much comfortable to have a child with this person.
I don't know.
Wait. Go ahead. Let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because of similar to what you said as far as the age, because I had asked him the age. I said, how old?
Good question.
And she's old. She's a few years shy of 40. Okay. Right?
All right.
She does not have the child either. He does not either. That's pretty older considering where we are.
She's looking at her age.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, if you were in a relationship with this person, even if it was a short period of time, you can see some values that may exist and could be favorable to your firstborn or your child that you decide to have.
I see where you're going.
And I'm saying this from a woman's I'm saying this from my perspective and the situations I've been in. You can look at someone and say, oh, this person will be, not knowing 100%, a great dad, or potentially a great a great person to their children, even if they're not good to you.
Right,
you can tell that they can be that to their unborn children because of their value system and their family structure sometimes.
Okay, so what you're saying is, did I cut you off?
No,
okay.
no, go ahead.
Okay,
I'm listening.
So what you're saying is, she's pregnant. She's evaluating the guy. Yeah, me and this guy not gonna be together.
Yes.
But this is a good selection to have a baby with.
Ding, ding, ding.
Because of this, it could be financial. It could be
whatever.
The genetics.
I don't know.
It could be whatever. What her thing is. Well, I could take this, or I could just gamble on the next person and not be as good.
Or let's assume that she already gambled on someone and she made a different decision.
Yeah, and I think time is
of the essence.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in imperfect timing.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was just wondering, because you're a father of 3 kids.
10,000. Yeah. But three
yes,
boys,
and well, possibly because you have a girl that you're the stepdad of.
Yeah.
So like David has a whole heap of kids, y'all. Like he just like taking care of everybody and their kids and their family.
Yeah.
I support it, because I wouldn't do it. So that's admirable.
But I love my kids. Yeah.
And that's good. And that's all that matters, really. That's good. So I was just wondering, like, how would you have managed the situation? Or like,
if I was you or him?
That's a good question, because that's how I give advice. I don't know. If you were me, because you know me, you don't know him.
I think if I was you, I mean, it's like, I would remove a kid and be like, do I actually have something with this person first? Because the kid is, it's going to be very important. It's going to play a big part.
Right.
But you want to first evaluate, hey, do I have something with this person? So then you want to calculate it and say, is it good enough that I would take on his kid? Because you guys would be actually kind of learning the kid together. Then are you ready for that hold down? Because it's like, but then again, the kid's not going to live with you guys full time. So therefore, it still is a level of freedom that you're going to have.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and what you're saying is the issue for the guy from what he expressed, like the way that he expressed, like wanting to have his first child. Like I always felt like he even said, like, I think
he
I want my child.
Yeah,
he doesn't. He's really not favorite. He's like, I really always think of my children and not having the same address, like something to or the same home or some sort. And I think kind of more so like actually absorbing that moment with his wife, or like,
I got a twist in there.
Oh no, I don't need any more twists.
Yeah, is there a fear that as she starts developing, that he might start looking at her different? Hey, she is carrying my child.
And that's what I was going to get to next.
She is carrying my child.
I was going to get to that next.
Need to go ahead and just make this thing right.
And
and see you later, D'Angelo.
I actually considered that, or thought of like what could possibly happen, given that circumstance, because you don't know, given that it's both you all's firstborn. Right.
So if I was you, I just got the new answer.
Okay. You got the new answer.
Yeah, I just got the new answer.
Get the old one.
Came in. Yeah. I would ask, hey, maybe you should take some time and evaluate and make sure that this is what you want to pursue with me, because I could foresee something down the line that you may have mixed feelings.
Ding, ding, ding. So.
Okay.
A little bit of information. I did that already.
Okay, you did that already.
Yes, because
and he's certain that no, this is not.
Of course, as most people are. Yeah, I mean, and for a reason they're broken up, but whatever the case may be. But it's just like it doesn't. I know. I get this. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say.
Because sort of, kind of, not actually, but they're broken up. That's clear. Mm-hmm. But it's a different circumstance. It's almost like if someone got sick that you knew and you were like, dang, I just don't want to see them like this and I want to be there for them, and then you start seeing how strong they actually are and how they take care of them, what they really mean to you and how they handling things,
right,
or how they being actual, like, caring and stuff.
Right.
So what you just said is what I said. Like I said, I have to protect me, and this is also protecting you too. Because this is a lot of unknown that you're not really familiar with,
right.
and you don't really know how you're going to feel.
You don't know how.
Now, granted, but I also don't think that this person would be so adamant in saying that they won't be with this person. You know what I mean? Like, if there was a possibility, I think this person would be like, hey, this is a situation that's going on, and I just think it's best to keep this at bay. Like, have a distance. If there was a possibility. I think regardless of what takes place, this person does not want to be in a situation with this person. Gotcha. Given what they have expressed to me. Like, if they could have a different option, they would have chose a different option.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, this is not like, something that's like, oh yeah, I would have chose this. So I consider that, and this is how I think. I think in a forward manner. Like, I think very like a few steps ahead. So I said, like, there's a lot of things that have to take place that you don't know, that I can't even know. Like, I don't know. Do you know how she's going to be? Like, when you all deciding, like, the registry, who's going to have that? Like, the insurance, like, who's going to go to the doctor's appointment? Are you not going to be involved? Like, I don't know how much or how this works for a person who's not involved, because
and what kind of guilt is he going to carry and respond to?
Right.
Because you may not go to the first 4 appointments, but then after a while, it might start weighing on, hey, maybe I need to go.
Or it may be her. Like, she's having a child. Like, it's hormones happening. It's things going on.
Does she want him?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
I mean, I think I think so.
Okay.
And that's kind of the thing, because it's just like, then it talks about her involvement and how much she's going to, because even if he don't want to be involved, a woman know how to make you involved a little bit. Like, keep giving you, sending you messages, keep giving you updates, keep giving you, everything. Like, it's a lot of things that are going on that you're not there to experience. So it's like, I'm just letting you know. And those things, I just keep letting you know things.
Because no matter what, even though he doesn't want to be with her, he doesn't want this situation. If he's a decent guy, he's gonna show concern.
Sure. Or make sure she's good.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Because that's the type of person.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Okay, so I'm interested to see how that's going to play out with you. But what is your final steps moving forward?
It's interesting you say you're going to see how it played out. I mean, you mentioned before.
You think it's played out already, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I already made a decision that we can just be friends. Like, I think he's a great person. Like.
And how do you take that?
It wasn't what he wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But this is how I feel about, this is how
Do you think he's gonna have a change of heart?
I don't think he's gonna have a change of heart.
Or you just think?
I just think that it's so much that he has to experience to figure out, and I don't know if I can.
You don't want to be invested in something goes wrong.
It's not even that. It's more so like, I think I'm too. I don't want to use this word because I'm not this, but when dating me is like, I think one of those things where you have to give me the attention that I want. And and there I don't, and I think that,
I mean, at least you're honest about it.
No, and it's because of I'm getting to know you, so I need a certain level of attention to get to know you. Like, I'm not saying we have to see each other every day, every freaking hour, because that's not even my personality. You don't want to compete. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
Exactly.
I mean, if that's
even though I'm in dating, you're in competition and you don't know it anyway.
Sometimes you're competing with work and competing with other things that.
But it would be
taking the guy's attention. But
yes, but it would have been totally different if there was already a child.
Right.
You see what I mean?
It would already been established his patterns. And right now he can't establish.
There's no established boundaries. Yeah. You're learning to establish them.
Okay, I got it.
And that started off. That kicked off the influences because of like what influenced the decisions.
Yeah, things influence decisions. So let's talk about. So we're talking about influences. We already talked about Kobe a little bit. Influence. I remember.
Yes.
Like even with Kobe when he ruptured his Achilles tendon. And
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, because you're not a sports fan. So he was 33 years old, thing like that. And I remember I was so fascinated, with him that I looked it up.
You were how old when this happened?
Oh, I was in my 30s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was fascinated. So I looked it up. What happens with the surgery and everything about that injury. Right. Because my favorite athlete got injured, so I looked and see what happened.
Okay.
Ironically, when I turned 33, I ruptured my Achilles tendon playing racquetball. So.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it's like I already knew what to expect based on it. So talk about influence. So when Kobe ruptured his tendon on the basketball court, he gets a lot of credit because he showed a lot of grit and toughness. Because after he ruptured it, he shot 2 free throws. Then he went off and he walked off on his own, whatever. Mm-hmm. So most people, you ruptured, you get hurt, right. you stub your toe, you're getting carried off to the locker room. But because he showed, that determination in that fight. So when I ruptured my Achilles tendon playing racquetball, I did the same thing. He influenced me.
Wow.
I didn't finish the game, but he influenced me. And it was my driver's foot to walk off myself, drive myself to the hospital, using my left foot.
You was about to cause a major accident.
So these are the type of influences, you could be influenced and not even know it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or, you could be influenced to be strong. You could be influenced to be weak. Mm-hmm. You could be influenced to be, a funny person, to be a happy person. Mm. So influences, is a big thing. And good leaders, the main thing you have to do is to be able to influence your people to follow.
Ooh.
So let me ask you, did you have any good or bad influences as a child growing up?
That's a good question. Mm-hmm. I think I had pretty good influences around me as a child, but not family.
I like how you said.
No, I'm serious.
So then, therefore, you might have had a bad influence that was family.
Oh, it were both. So I don't think. So I think that there's always good and evil in all situations in life.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So I feel like as much as there is good, there's something lurking around and going that ain't so good either. Mm-hmm. So with the influence, I feel like because I'm saying like as far as influences are like I'm trying to look in all angles of how family has influenced me. Yeah. But I would say that a lot of things that how I operate is the complete opposite of some of my upbringing.
Gotcha.
Like, although I still have I'm from this family and I have these things, that I was raised, but there's a lot of things that is nothing that can directly ping back.
Did you have any friends that were bad influences? Or were you a bad influence on a friend?
I was just about to say, I was a bad influence on some friends this weekend because it was her birthday. But that's birthday. That doesn't count, right?
Right, but yeah.
I mean, I think growing up, overall, I had great influences because I was in a lot of different things around in my neighborhood. So I was in a college bound program. I was busy. I was a busy teen kid. I was the ambassador of my college bound program. I was doing this and then I was a part of this and then I was part of that. So I felt like overall, I don't know if it was me wanting to have, because I feel like also influences also involves you and what you want.
True.
Because it's a choice.
Okay, so that kind of goes to my next question. So we have influences by default. So that's like a parent, a teacher, something
sibling.
Yeah, something that you can't avoid. So you get influenced by a parent's behavior, by a parent's habit. So some of it is not a choice because that was just your environment. You're an influence of your environment.
Well, that's different from the people who raised you. Mm-hmm. Versus, when you raise from someone, they're your manual. They're teaching you everything. They're teaching you until you decide, okay, I got this, like a Venn diagram. Right. Okay, I got this part of, what I was told. And now I'm learning this about myself. Right. Which part do I want to blend and which part do I totally want to distort, Yeah. Yeah. Because when you talk about family, I mean, that's a major influence. I even talk about how family makes up a lot of people's insecurities. Family makes up a lot of people, the reason why they are a lot of the ways that they are. Family is the back of who you are and how you handle your whole entire life almost until you decide. Because you have to consciously make an effort every single day not to take those family values with you.
Correct.
Because that's your foundation.
Yeah. So in that influence, you have to have that.
It's that default influence. It's subconsciously is with you whether or not you see it. I've seen some things today and oh my gosh, I sound just like my mother. Yeah. And although I'm not around my mother, I'm like, oh. Yeah.
But you have to have that realization that what you learn or what you were a part of oh, that actually is not the best
right.
solution or the best way.
Yeah, but you know, I feel like a lot of people don't do that unless there was a high level of toxic outcomes. Does that make sense? Like,
that makes sense.
I feel like people on the minimum level, like people can be emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, physically, of course, it's like, oh, you know, it's abusive. But I also think manipulation is abusive too, although it probably aligns with emotion abuse. And I feel like a lot of family members do that to you. You know, they can manipulate you and be like, well, I'm your mother, I'm your dad. That's abuse. Yeah. By using that excuse, by saying, because you should do this for me because I'm this, that's abuse as well. So if it doesn't come across as a high level toxic relationship, is overlooked. You see what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like that's an influence on the person too, because of course my experience, you know, with taking it otherwise with dating someone, their influences come from those things, and they think like, oh, this is how you handle conversation. This is how you handle arguments, and it's nothing is wrong with it in their eyes. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking to two different people who come from two different walks of life, it's like, well, actually, you're trying to manipulate me to think what you think, and that's not how I think. But they don't understand that that's manipulation or that's toxic, because this is all that they know. This is all that they have grown up to be, you know?
So did anybody influence your career path?
Oh, yeah. So my manager, when I first started out in the government, well, yeah, I have great people around me who's like, okay, taking me under their wing and say, hey, you're going to do this. Even if they've pawned me off to others who knew more. But I think that those people that's the ultimate leader. Like, people think of leaders who, you know, have an idea of leaders and say, oh, if this person is a leader, they actually want to keep you around and blah, blah, blah. But I think a leader who actually wants to say, I know nothing about this, I'm going to direct you to this person who can give you more about that. That's the ultimate leader. Yeah. Because I think people think like, oh, I'm holding on to this person because this is the person that was under my tutelage and that I groomed and you know, made my protege. But that's not really a leader to me. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? Because you don't possibly know everything. And although you may have been able to mentor this person from a certain period or a certain career path or a certain anything in their life, it may stop at that point, but they may need a different mentor to go further.
Yeah. And that's why you probably should have more than one mentor. Oh. It's just,
And those influences are what matters, as far as is what matter, because otherwise, how else would you grow?
Right. I mean, so you could be influenced by friends. You could be influenced that can impact your growth. Sometimes, like even me, I observe, and if I have, like even my sister, she's doing pretty good. So you know, I can
according to David.
Yeah. So there's some influence. Like, okay, she's doing that. Maybe I should try this. You know,
you're influenced by your friends.
I am influenced
because when you have these conversations with me about your friends, y'all are in competition. Like, okay,
we influence.
It's not necessarily with each other, but it's just like, oh man, you got that. Okay, let me do this.
Yeah, we influence each other, but then that's just. But then, okay, so then it almost makes me want to go to the last point, but...
I mean, we don't have to have an order, but influence is influence. And
influence is influence. Yeah. So we have influencers on Instagram. Oh. So that's a big time thing.
Yeah.
Just is people write under their title like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm an influencer. What is that? On Instagram, what is just...
Well, an influencer on social media is basically someone who has established credibility and an audience.
Okay.
And typically the audience isn't necessarily a small audience. Like, it's not like necessarily people under 500 people. It's like people who got like a good K point followers, if not more. And if you think about big time celebrities, although they're celebrities already, they're influencers.
Right.
But there's a different community of influences, such as what we're describing, with saying family, friends, coworkers, etc. So within the influencer pot, like you got the celebrities, then you have the local influencers
right.
of whatever town or area that is.
Yeah.
Then you have the influencers within that, and then you break it down to whatever the product or service that it is. So
let me ask you. So let's say because you have influencers who want to influence you on to stay fit. You got some that want to influence you on how to do your hair, how to do your makeup, how to do all these things.
Skincare, beauty.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
health.
why does everybody want to be influencers?
I think it's for.
I mean, of course, we know that there's a market for. We know that people are getting paid.
Yes,
to
that
do
part.
It.
I think it's because it's bringing in business. Like it's like having a multiple, another stream of income.
Correct. Yeah.
So with those and speaking of that, like remember that I went over the stats a few weeks ago.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if it was in the last episode before.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned that's what they would like us to talk about as a topic too, is multiple streams of income.
Right.
And I think that would be a great topic for us to explore. But I think like few people are deciding to move towards this like lifestyle where they're creating their own lane and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And becoming an influencer is allowing them to have that creativity. Whereas in a lot of times in the workplace, people are stifled. Their creativity is stifled, and it's difficult for them to actually, be creative.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay. She likes what you were saying over there. So is there anybody that influences your fashion? Because everybody in here is influenced by someone, by something that they do.
That's true, but I think like influences come all around. But at some point, it's like, so what part of it is just me? Like, oh, this is what I like.
Yeah. When are you expressing yourself?
Yeah, like because
that's why I want to get. That's what I want to get at.
Okay,
so if you're always chasing these influencers and things like that. Like,
when do you have time to be yourself?
When do you have time
or influence yourself?
Right. Because if you're on social media liking everything, blah blah, when are you actually doing your own goals?
I think that's what's happening with social media.
Okay.
And like the whole, have you heard people like, oh, I need to take a break, or I went on a detox from social media? I think that's just insane. When people say I need to take a break from social media, I'm like, what are you doing on there?
Liking everybody. And you're liking everybody, and you're not doing your own stuff.
I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. Like,
you're living their life.
I'm not.
You're just observing life, of everybody else's happiness.
You know what?
And
you might be right, David.
You're not completing your classes. You're not completing your training. You're not taking care of your kids. You're not doing all these kind of things. You're not, because you're too busy liking and being influenced to just watching influencers.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, so to that point.
Okay, to the point.
Because I'm trying to think of, because it's, although I am within the millennial, and you're just over the cups of millennial. You're just right there. Mm-hmm. I don't find other people's lives that interesting.
Okay.
I'm just going to be honest.
I'm
just going to be honest. It's only probably like a handful of people's lives I find interesting. Right. And you know who those people typically are? They're people where I would aspire to be.
Correct.
Like a mentor.
Correct.
So if I am looking at those people, because I can't be inspired by 1,000 of people that I follow. Like, it's no way we're doing the same things and want the same things.
Right. I think it's important to be inspired by your craft. Like,
right.
Okay, I play the keyboard.
Right.
I get paid to play the keyboard.
Yes.
So there are some people that I follow that play the keyboard.
But that's also a skill too.
Yeah, but they influence me. They may influence my style, or there's some
to get better. But
yeah.
But see, I think that's the difference between having a skill and wanting to excel at your skill and learn things. It's like a singer. Like, they want to go in different ranges. They want to try different tracks. They want to be on different beats. Like, that's a skill set.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so you should always continue to be influenced by the field that you're in.
Right. I agree. And the same with me. So, I have my food blog.
Right.
And I cook. So I'm on that social media the most because I'm staying abreast of, like you said, like, oh, what's new? Or what's trend? Oh, I've never heard of that recipe. Or what's that? I don't know every spice that exists in this world. So I'm always learning something. But to simply just look at other people's lives and I'm not learning anything, that's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Like, you're not an influencer to me because I'm not getting out of this. If you know exactly what I know, we can converse about it, yes, but I'm not gaining any growth from it.
Let me ask you this. Is there a celebrity that has influenced you?
I don't really get starstruck. It's sad. I know.
I'm
trying. I don't know. I don't think I have. Someone always asks me.
Have
like,
you never been starstruck?
No, people even ask me like, "What's your celebrity crush?" I don't really have one.
Have you ever? So, tell me a celebrity that you might
horrible.
have. Tell me a celebrity that you might have met, and you just played it off, or
no one, because I'm not starstruck. Like legit, I have met a few celebrities. Like if I admire your work. That's different. Like,
right.
I've met Common. I love Common as a rapper. I love that he's a conscious rapper. What else? I mean, I've met a few like B-lister. They call them B-lister, D-listers, celebrities. But I'm not really starstruck because, and this is why I'm not starstruck. I think it's because I'm too critical. Like my mind is too critical because I'm like, these people have an amazing life, quote unquote. Like I'm putting in my quote hands, but I don't know what they had to do to get there. Mm-hmm. And we don't have all the same 24 hours. They don't have the same 24 hours as me. I don't have the same 24 hours. I don't have the connections. I don't have the influence. I don't know the people that they know because if I had all those things, honey, listen, I would be on a different wavelength. So I don't really admire them. I admire like people that I see around me who are doing things because it's just like, well, how do you get to that point? Some of these people have connections that I won't ever be able to obtain until I get to that point.
So your influencers are the ones that you can actually touch. And,
not necessarily touch, but more so that I find is relatable. Like I don't relate to Kim Kardashian.
No. I mean,
so
I understand that.
She's not going to be anybody that I'm like, oh great. Like, so I don't understand how people have like, I wonder the minds of million followers and like, why? What is it? Like, what is it about these individuals you like? Because I don't know them to like them.
Yeah,
you see what I mean? Like it's different. Like I don't really know how to describe this. Like if I say yes, I'm a fan. Like I'm a fan of great music, a great rapper or a great artist, artist that paints or this. I'm like, oh, I like that. Or the lyrics that I can, say, oh, that's a relatable experience too. But I'm not starstruck to the point of like, oh my gosh, I want to be just like this. Blah, 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 blah. I have not been that way as a child, and I still am not. I was like, oh, maybe it'll change. There's nobody. I love Beyonce. I think she's a great performer, but I don't think I would be starstruck I feel like there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that's what I want to know. Like I want to know tell me the real story that no one else sees. Like I want to know the deep level of it all.
So it's not that you're not impressed with them.
Yeah.
It's just like if Beyonce walked in, you're not gonna freeze up. You're not gonna be like,
no, I don't think
you're gonna be more like, hey, Beyonce, how did when you did this? How did it feel when you did that? So you want to be more about.
I want the connections.
Okay.
I want to make the connections. Like, I mean, granted, that's not my lane, though. I'm not a singer, but I will. I'm more so.
You want to hear about the journey?
Yeah, I want to know like, how do I do this? Because I feel like again, timing and opportunity. How do we get to that?
Okay.
With the influence. So, but social media is one of those things. Like, and then like also they know celebrities are having more and more influence that brands are actually. Seeking after them to
sponsor,
because they know they have such a large following that it's no longer about the people. It's no longer about what we want anymore, and we're the consumers. Yeah, like we're the consumers. Like so, mentioning Beyonce, she just released like Adidas. She's a part of Adidas campaign, and she had all these like athleisure wear items that she like. So all these celebrities. Video recorded themselves opening up the package that she sent to them, and everybody on Twitter like, but what about us? we're paying for this shit, like what about us? You gave it to them for free and they can afford it. And I was like, I'm glad that someone is understanding that. Like,
but it's the game is because she's sending to other influencers.
Yes.
So then
to get to their audience. It's a business strategy.
So is there anybody that you know that you are influencing?
From my food blog.
Okay.
Because I have a foodie group. I have people that like that's what I love. Like I cook when I make recipes and I post my adventures or when I travel and eat things. They be like, oh my gosh, what is this? They'll slide in my, DMs and be like, hey girl, what's that? Or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's the engagement that I like. Like people who actually talk to me. So if I became a celebrity, I would be upset because there would be someone else talking to these people and not that I want to hear their feedback. So I would appreciate the following feedback versus like, oh, I'm too big now and I can't talk to these people. Like I would be upset about that. Like I would run things probably a little differently that probably won't be cost effective for my camp, you know. But what about you? Are you like starstruck by any or influenced? Well, I get the Kobe thing.
Oh yeah. Kobe. I was actually. I think I was like 27 when I met him, or 26. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was starstruck.
You starstruck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was a whole Laker team, and it was
the entire Laker team.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Team. Right.
Well, nice.
when he came out, it was a different level. Yeah. So then, being growing up in California, LA, things like that, you run into people. So you're going to run into people.
That's true. When I visit LA, right. I ran into a lot of celebrities.
So another celebrity that I admire a lot. I was at it was 2016, and it was an Olympic game for China. They were playing an LA expedition game, and I ended up leaving early, and I was in the parking lot where they did the ballet ad, and then Jamie Foxx walked up. So that was, and he was just by himself. It was no security because it was kind of like a secret, just ballet parking lot off to the side. So I wasn't, even though I like him a lot, and I think he's the most talented entertainer. I wasn't starstruck. I got a picture, of course, and I was able to talk to him. Okay, but it wasn't like it wasn't the the Kobe. Okay, yeah. But then again, I was in my 30s, and I was like, it's just a little different. But
I mean, this is making me think about.
But then even with like James, but like even though I'm not an actor or nothing like that, I'm not a singer. I do play the keyboard, but I'm not a singer. Right. But you could be influenced by the art, by the work ethic, by the diversity, because he definitely has a like we said, different streams of income for doing different things.
But also because of his skill set. He's talented.
Yeah, he's very, very, very talented.
So he's just kind of like, he has that ability now to show all his talents.
Right. Yeah. So, but in terms, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. If somebody walked in, I don't know. But it's not too many people.
It's not too many? Okay. Yeah, because I don't take you as being a starstruck person.
Yeah, it's not too many. As a matter of fact, yeah.
I would, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna put this out there and manifest it. Maybe with me doing food, maybe I'll have like a dinner table series. Okay. Like if I could at some point became like a well-known person, but not on the level of celebrity status, it's like need security, and I can have like a dinner conversation, like dinner with Beyonce, dinner with, Kevin Hart, everyone in every lane. Right. Like a dinner series thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be something and that's kind of like a show that I would want as a food person. Like I want a talk show about food. And I have segments in my mind about how we can all talk about food around the talk show. I don't know if that sounds greedy of me, but I just feel like conversations are had over food. You get to know people over food. Yeah. So,
but even like I said, influence. One of the stats that I pulled up, it says the industry influencer for marketing is projected to become a $15 billion business by the year of 2022.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And there's kids making money. I think there's like an 8-year-old kid on
YouTube,
and he's making
unboxing toys.
He's making $10 million a year. And you talking about we're just influencing the kids to play.
He's influencing parents to buy them dang on toys.
Right. So it's like
$8 million.
But that's why it makes me think, and people are going to take offense. There's a lot of weak-minded people in the world because you're just following.
I agree with you.
Following. And there got to be some leaders out there. Got to be some people that's not, you can't just be into everything.
No, agree. Yeah. I agree with you 1,000%. That is stifling kids' growth. Yeah. Because of that. Like these kids influencers, like even though like LeBron James and his wife, they have a daughter, and she's came out with the YouTube thing, and I'm like, gosh, people, can these kids have a lifestyle? Like you already put them in the like they're already in the limelight because of your fame. Can they just grow up and not
bring in 5 checks? Yeah.
And that's what it boiled down to people just kind of wanting that. Okay, we can do this. This is a stream of income. Like,
so is it about income, or is it really about impacting lives, impacting people, and really leading them to, a better life or their destiny or whatever?
I think that's a great way to wrap up the show. Is it about impacting other lives, or is it about income?
It's about the money.
So until next time, coworkers, let us know what you think.